I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Perez is not leaving. He's not happy at people saying that he's going to retire from Formula 1. The rumours have been swirling about him, well, not really surviving at Red Bull, and there's also been rumours about him retiring if he leaves Red Bull. But let's have a look at what's been said here. Full article on the F1 Chronicle as always, guys. You know how we do on here. Sergio Perez has hit reverse gear on swirling rumours about his future in Formula 1. With Daniel Ricciardo expected to be dropped from the lineup from the junior RB team with immediate effect, a new rumour about the Perez situation at the Red Bull team is also doing the rounds in Singapore. This is the first time I've heard of this, Red Bull F1 consultant Dr. Helmut Marko smiled when asked about the rumour that Perez, 34, might retire from F1 at the end of the 2024 season. That is the first I've heard of that. Unless he gets axed from Red Bull, that's the only time I'd really see him retiring personally. But let's have a look. But his wife is expecting their fourth child, Marko mused to Kleine Zeitung newspaper, an interesting alternative. However, the Mexican driver says he's going nowhere. It's a tough calendar, 24 races a year, but I will be in Formula 1 for at least another 2 years, he told the Spanish reporters in Singapore, including Marca. I don't think I will be here for a very long time. My contract is for 2 years, which is a long time in Formula 1, but I know the end is getting closer. I admire Fernando Alonso and what he does at his age. 43 is 43. It races until he's 45. But I don't think I'll race for as long as he has. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I have small children and I want to spend much more time with them. Absolutely fair enough. Perez has 4 children, all under the age of 7. Go Checo, he's not waiting around. When asked about retirement, Perez admitted, I've been thinking about it for at least the last 6 months, but it took me 3 seconds to make the decision. In the end, after so many years, it would have been nice if the easiest step to take is to walk away and kind of give up. But I would never have forgiven myself if I did that. It's been a tough year. It was tough to have a car with some limitations and not be able to say anything because of your teammate winning. Max Verstappen was doing really well, and the gap between us was getting bigger every time. That gap is now closing as Red Bull's car handling problems became ever more obvious, and Perez insists he does not want to be pushed away from the grid. I want to retire when I decide to retire, not when someone tells me. That's my main goal, to decide my future myself. In the end, people forget about the contract. I just signed the contract. People talk a lot about everything, but I wasn't worried because I knew the situation. Well, okay, a few things in there to dissect. So officially, Sergio Perez is signed on to drive with Red Bull Racing until the end of the 2026 season. However, a few people have said, including Christian Horner, I believe, that final year in 26 is actually an option for Red Bull to extend. As things stand right now, Perez will not race past the 2025 season unless Red Bull wants him to. Now, of course, Perez has not performed this season particularly well. I mean, yes, he had the flash in the pan result in Baku, obviously, but he was back to his usual self, really, at Singapore, which was pretty disappointing, to say the least. For what it's worth, he's going to survive to the end of the season, but if he doesn't do particularly well in 25, and if Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson, or Liam Lawson, I should say, are doing particularly well at the start of 25, Red Bull are going to just shove one of those guys in the second seat of the car. And even Christian Horner has spoken openly about signing George Russell, and if that option became available to them for the 26 season, they'd be stupid not to consider it. And of course, then on top of that, you've got other Red Bull drivers like Isaac Hadjar or Richards to get into Formula 1. So yeah, even if Liam Lawson comes in for Daniel Ricciardo, which is pretty much confirmed at this point, there's still a lot of drivers on the conveyor belt in Red Bull that are desperate to get in the RB seat. And then you've got drivers like Yuki Tsunoda that are probably desperate to be in the Red Bull seat. And then again, perhaps not desperate because of Max Verstappen being there, but you know what I mean? It's the natural progression of the Red Bull conveyor belt, and Perez unfortunately is the main blocker in that right now. He's the oldest driver at the Red Bull setup when Ricciardo goes. You know, there's drivers behind him, effectively underneath him, that have a lot of potential, that are reaching to get further up, that are applying that pressure that Sergio Perez is putting on himself at times as well, just with his poor performances. He's been poor at times, he just has been. You know, I like the guy, I do, but you can't deny he's underwhelmed. Overall this season he's underwhelmed. His teammate is top of the Drivers' Championship by a significant margin, despite the Red Bull not being the best car for the last, 7-8 rounds at least. And Perez hasn't won a single race since Baku 2023, and he's in 8th in the championship, isn't he? He's like the bottom of the top 4 teams. I mean, at this rate, Fernando Alonso is going to catch him in the Aston Martin. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, guys. I don't see Perez retiring at the end of the 24 season, but I do see him retiring if he gets the axe from Red Bull. I don't see him going to another team. I think, 4 kids all under the age of 7. Spend some time with them, man. I love spending time with my son. It's one of the best and most pure things I can do. Seeing them grow, seeing them learn. And he's going to be on the road all the time in other countries. You'll see him in the off season. You'll see him when he goes back to Mexico. You'll see him in some of these summer breaks, and this break on right now. I imagine he'll go back to Mexico to spend some time with them. Well, that's my kind of thoughts on it, guys. What do you think? Do you think Sergio Perez is going to retire after this season? If not, do you think he's going to retire at the end of the 25 season if he gets the axe from Red Bull? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, for much more Formula 1 content, keep it tuned right here to the F1Chronicle.com.